Alright, so I'm gonna tie the Shrimp Sherbet steelhead jig. Played around with this last year, caught quite a few fish. It's a super good jig when the water's not really clear. It's got some rubber legs, some marabou in there to make it pretty leggy. Moves quite a bit. This is a 1/4 ounce maxi jig with an owner hook on it. So we'll get started. Like I said, super simple fly. Not a lot to it. I always use white thread so I can color it whatever I want. This is 210 denier ultra thread. And bring my thread back to the point of the hook. So I'm going to start with my tail. So this is just some fluorescent orange marabou. I like to take 2 pieces off it and match them up. Match the tips up. Just kind of gives the tail a little bit more a fuller look on it. Match them up and just kind of fold them over. If you don't like what it looks like, lay them down, match them up again. Just make sure the tips are even. There we go. Kind of fold them over. And I like to measure my tail the length of the hook. I'll kind of get my measurement here. And I'll do 3 wraps initially, 3 kind of progressively tighter wraps, a loose one, then a little bit tighter, then a little bit tighter, just to kind of get it on there while I clip off my excess. And I'm going to clip it off at an angle. And I'm trying to make this length of this excess span the length of the hook shank. It's just going to make my body, the body of this fly, a little bit fuller. So I'll just kind of wind forward. Looks messy in the beginning, but you just want to go back and forth up and down the hook shank a couple of times, and it tightens it right up. Okay. There we are. Next is some copper flashabou. This gives it a little extra flash in here, and so I'm just going to tie this on the top of the tail in a V. So I'll start on my side of the shank. I'll go 1 wrap, and this is 3 strands, by the way, so that's going to make 6 strands total once you fold it over. Fold it over in the back, you V the back, couple wraps to cinch it down, and I'm going to trim off the excess. Just probably, I like the flash to be about 1 inch longer than the length of the tail. Next is going to be my leggy material. So this is just orange schlappen. Everything's going to be orange here. Orange schlappen. Peel it off. I'm going to tie this in by the tip, so you kind of want to fold the fibers back this way. Okay. I'm going to tie it in from the tip and off to my side of the hook shank. Give it about 3 wraps. Then you can come up the hook shank a little bit just to cinch it down. Get rid of your excess. Make sure it's nice and neat. Tighten it up. Come back. Last piece with the body is just going to be chenille. Okay, any type of orange chenille that you want to use will work just fine. Again, tie this one in on my side of the hook. A few wraps, cinch it down, and then I'm going to bring my thread all the way to the front. Okay. Chenille goes first. Make sure you have nice tight wraps. Really the point of this is to make sure your body, the body of this fly looks even. Okay. A lot of it's going to get covered up by the by the schlappen, but bring it up to the front. I'll usually go 2 wraps behind it and then a couple right there in front just to cinch it down. Trim away your tag. Okay, that would actually be a nice looking jig the way it is without the schlappen here. If you want to go something that's not quite as leggy, maybe for some lower, cleaner water, that works too. But to make it a little bit more leggy, a little bit more shrimpy, we're going to put the schlappen body in there, and then we're going to put some rubber legs. Okay, so since I'm tying this from the tip, as I palmer this to the front, I'm going to keep folding these fibers back because I want everything to be moving towards the back of the fly. Keeping my wraps fairly tight, but really it's up to you. If you want this leggy material to be really sparse, you can make your wraps farther apart. If you want a lot of leggy material, you can make them closer together. Okay. Keep kind of folding the fibers as you work towards the front. And tie off your end. Again, a couple wraps there. About 3 more wraps to cinch it in. Trim it off. You can brush this out if you want. I like the way schlappen looks without brushing it. It just looks, it's not perfect looking. Okay, and none of the shrimp that you're going to fish with are perfect looking anyway, so I leave it like that. The last piece here, you can use whatever orange colored rubber legs you want. This is just an orange tipped rubber leg with a clear middle part, kind of a speckled clear. And I'll take the orange tips. Orange tips will go from the front, and the kind of the clear speckled part will go towards the back. And I tied these rubber legs in on the side, so I'll rotate my vise over. Tie them in on the side, 3 on each side. With rubber legs, I like to make 2 wraps, 1 loose one and 1 tight one, to make sure it's there. Rotate the vise. Tie my second set on. Okay. Again, loose wrap, a little tighter wrap. The reason I do that is because when I rotate this around again and I want to look at it, it allows me to move the rubber legs if they're not quite where I want them to be. Take a peek at it. If you like it, fold everything back and give it 3, 4, 5 more wraps. Tighten it up. Then to finish this, I need to trim off my excess, and so I found the best way to do this is with a razor blade. Any kind of razor blade to make a nice close cut here. Make sure you don't cut your line. Just nick off the excess. Go slow and be careful. There we go. Okay. And finally, I'm just going to kind of finish out the head, fold things back, and I'm just going to make a handful of wraps to make the front of this fly look neat and to make sure everything is cinched down. Whip finish the end of it. I usually do 2 whip finishes, so I'll go 1, 2, 3. Knot it. Couple more. Pull it nice and tight. Trim off your excess. You can leave it white if you want. I like to use white thread because I'll color the thread whatever I want to make it match instead of trying to buy a bunch of different threads that are different colors to match things. Just go through. orange marker. Color it up. And then I'll put glue on at the end, but there you go. Shrimp sherbet. Super easy, super effective. Need to have it in your box.